us as Gayacono people, we have to live through it again. But it's just part of our journey. It says in the language that we're going to survive. Goyata Costa. We are the surviving people. So we always have to remember that. So no matter what the hardships are, I always think our people have been through worse. So we have to persist. A lot of people see Clint and hear about him, but a lot of us who've been on the ground here a long time know that it's really his mom. She's the one who's persistent, and more like Milton about this. Every day she's working hard to make sure that she's got the plan to remove everyone and, have her ultimate say. She likes to rule with an iron fist. That's just how she has to be. When you have power and that kind of money. I believe it was a statement of support campaign, and he had tribal citizens show up at the Q Nation picnic, and basically, if you signed, you voted for him, and there was no other option for another form of government or another representative, and then you got your quarterly distribution check along attached with it. So I think the statistic was 60% of the votes voted for him. So it could have been 3 people that voted, or it could have been 10 people. We don't know how many people actually voted, but that was the ratio. Yes. And that was the mechanism that Tara Sweeney and them put in place for us to have the predicament we're in right now. So. I guess it's not even really on his terms to be um, using these treaty rights, because he's operating outside the circle wampum here without the chiefs and the clan mothers and the people. So he's stepped outside of that, and he has no claim to any of these treaties anymore. But then it also says that he's always welcome back to the circle, but he's outside until then. But getting the BIA to understand that, and the thing is that they do understand that, is that there's some corruption in there, because within the BIA's determination of Franklin Keel in 2014, they stated that they understand that the Q Nation operates as an oral tradition under the Great Law of Peace, and that the consensus of the clan mothers is basically the ultimate say. So Clint logistically should be out, and they recognize that, as our governance, but they had a change in leadership at the helm of the BIA, and this Tara Sweeney gets in with the new Trump administration, and Peenstra is the town police. They were in the counties. They were writing letters to the BIA. They wanted clarification about the scope of the federal representative, and so Tara Sweeney was the I think assistant secretary at the time. She wrote that clarification letter, and she stated basically that Clinton and his administration were the hear all and see all for government to government relationship on everything. And it's just gotten twisted, like I said, through that Tara Sweeney letter. Like, up until that clarification letter, it was still, the precedence was there was a case of Sam Campbell versus Cuba Nation, and the New York state government, and that it was basically didn't really have a say or want to get involved in any of our intertribal dealings. They were like, this is up to you guys. This is it's not up to us to decide who's in charge or how things run. Someone with a lot of resources and abilities to capitalize as an individual and make it seem like he's the head of our nation and the person who would have the right to these treaties. So I think that's a big manipulation, and a part where the BIA they've overstepped their bounds like big time. Like, I don't even understand how they could write a letter and just giving him that type of authority. So like that, to me, that plays a big part in this whole scheme out here, is that they overstepped their boundaries on our self-determination. They acknowledged how we operate, and then they vacated from that. So that needs to be exploited, and that needs to be in the courts on behalf of the chiefs and clan mothers. So if that does happen, I think that's where we could make some headway here. It's not the easiest, without a support system, and not any infrastructure in your favor. If all the infrastructures are against you, and you're put out to be as the villain, the kids are at the disadvantage here because that was their place to go and kind of be themselves, run in the garden, or we had ceremony, or just to be an Indian, go run in the field or whatever, and like that aspect is gone, that safe space is gone, so we have to create another one of those, place where kids can just be themselves again. Being able to operate with without your safety needs, it's like you're enduring so much trauma, like all the time. Not being able to operate in your own household, having that over your head that maybe at 3 in the morning the Cuba Nation police are going to show up, and then you're going to be removed from your home. So that plays into people's minds, and then where do people go from there? And then if that could come at any day, how do you actuate out of that? How do you get to the point of self-actualization? But through all of this, people's safety needs being threatened, I think that a lot of us parents feel guilty because the kids got put on the back burner at times because the circumstance at times, us having to endure the things that we did and proceed on,
Do you feel like there was enough on the ground help, or like vetted help? Because like I know when we were here this past summer, like, yeah, I feel like there weren't, like, the allies that were here were mostly into like the legal fight. Like there wasn't a lot of like, we'll clean your house, like go take a break help.
Yeah,
like,
consistent on the ground support.
That's the part where we're at a disadvantage, is that people's homes, are scattered. We're not centralized, and you have to be at multiple places at different times, and which makes people's safety needs very hard to meet, when you're going up against that type of force, and that kind of money.